So, welcome back to season 2 of Sleepless in Dubai. My name is Julie Mallon. I'm a sleep consultant. I am a corporate speaker. But most importantly, I am a mother to the most incredible 3 human beings. And I'm now going to hand you over to Laura, my co-host.
Yes, my name is Laura Buckwell. I'm an international event MC, broadcast journalist, and also a mother of 2. And yes, we are broadcasting live from the Baby Expo here in Dubai. And we are absolutely delighted to be joined by the wonderful Brianna Fade.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here right now.
Thank you so much for joining us. Right, I've given you a very brief introduction. Tell us a little bit more about what we do. I know that you've got a 6-month-old baby.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. So we're actually bringing him tomorrow, so hopefully you'll get to meet him tomorrow. His name is Cruz. So I'm actually working with Fade Fit. I'm the brand manager of Fade Fit. We actually have a stand here, so just, was setting up this morning, and now I'm on your podcast, so excited to be here.
So an entrepreneur, a mom, how are you managing your sleep at the moment is the question.
So, a lot of moms told me about getting a night nurse. And I was lucky enough or blessed enough to have 2 nannies at home. So my husband, Chris Fade, he has 2 daughters, Nushi and Kiki. So he's had nannies, since they were born. So they've been with us for 15 years. They're actually 2 sisters, Virginia and Marilyn. So one of them kind of acts as a night nurse. I've been getting my sleep.
And what about Cruz? What about his sleep?
He's really good. I think in the beginning, we just started kind of sleep training maybe about a month ago. And I think now he only wakes up about 1 time. But he's been pretty good at sleeping.
You are so lucky, by the way. Oh my God.
You are very lucky. But again, if we're looking at normalizing our children's sleep, what we have to be very aware of is that sleep in its purest form is a learned behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And, I see throughout my practice all ages of children suffering with not being able to fall asleep, but most importantly, go back into sleep independently. So, if I look at children who I'm working with who are 5 years old, who are 8 years old, 12 years old, 16 years old, if I look back, they didn't actually learn how to fall asleep from the very beginning. So just to really work at when a child is learning to fall asleep, you know that according to all the neuroscience data, it takes 10 to 14 days for a child to change the behavior of a child. So it's not about changing Cruz, but it is about changing the behavior. So thinking about how he falls asleep at the very beginning. Because, for example, if he's falling asleep on milk, or if he's falling asleep being held, that's the equivalent to you falling asleep in your bed, and when you wake up, you're on the kitchen floor. There is no way you could go back to sleep till you go back to your bed. Mm-hmm. So just a little bit around Cruz and how we want to really give him the best sleep skills, because it is a skill set.
Okay, so the sleep training is not necessarily them sleeping through the night. It's having them sleep on their own.
So I know it sounds really, really pedantic, but we truly do not do sleep training.
Okay.
We do sleep coaching.
Okay.
Because when we sleep train our children don't have a voice. But when we sleep coach them, we really are being responsive. So we're looking at where they are developmentally. So, for example, I know Cruz is 6 months old.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's a very important part within his first year. Because at 6 months or 26 weeks, this is his very first encounter with separation anxiety, which is it's a normal part of his development. Now, we also know that separation anxiety is not going to peak until he is 18 months, and he's got a long way to go.
Sure.
So the more we give him the tools to deal with these feelings, these big emotions that he will gather as he gets older, then he will navigate those big sleep bumps up until he's 18 months. So that's what you'd be really looking at here.
Okay. And so what can I do, I guess?
So one of the first things is to look at how much attention or how much level of assistance we are giving him to fall asleep. So I think we need to quantify how much help we're giving to our children. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 is where we need to be, and 10 is where we want to not be. So 1 out of 10 It's your white noise and or your lovely. So white noise is the best sleep association. And then 10 is if our children are being held to sleep. So that's not where we want to be. So we want to fade everything out in order for our children to learn. Because what we have to be so mindful of, learning to fall asleep is like learning to drive a car, learning to ride a bicycle, or learning to swim. Nobody ever gets in the car and turns the engine on, or very few. I think my father might have been one of those people.
We used to drive the kids around the block to get them to sleep, exactly the same. And I think I've actually seen on your Instagram of you and Chris.
Yeah.
And I was exactly the same, and never. I mean, sadly, I didn't meet you when I kissed the babies. But yeah, it's that rocking motion, everything else, and you just do what you've got to do in order to get kids to sleep, right?
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, it's still process.
And I think it's exactly so. I put him to bed every night at 7 o'clock. He's pretty much out, which I thought was a good thing. At 7 o'clock, he's is his bedtime. So he's pretty on track with that. But I do hold him, and I do rock him, and I think it's more for me though.
I mean,
because I want that time to. I think it's a special moment because I am not with him through the night, and which allows me to then sleep, and then I'm with him all day, and then I make sure I put him to bed every night. So it's just more of a bonding thing for me, and I enjoy it.
I'm the same, exactly there.
But you can even if you just bring it forward by 15 minutes, you can still have that bonding moment, because remember, we've given him a terrible fright. He's fallen asleep here in your arms, and when he wakes up, he's not there because his sleep cycles are 1 hour. And what that means is there are 11 to 12 potentials of waking up during the night. And so he comes out of a sleep cycle, looks around, where am I? And at some point, because his sleep changes through the night, sleep is not a straight line. Sleep is really dynamic. But I hear you, and this is never, ever about, blaming or shaming or criticizing ever. The sleep work has to be, it shouldn't be child-centric, but equally it shouldn't be parent-centric. But what we are doing is being relationship-centric. And that's where the sleep work truly is collaborative. These are not sound bites. This is all about the research that is showing us that something like the cry it out, for example, that has harm to our children. And we truly are growing an adult, we're not growing a child. So it's, we all start small. So if you go from holding, what we are wanting to do is that he's in the cot and you might put him to sleep. Progress. That's progress, and that's what we have. So, and again, with the sleep work, there's many parents, I just talked with some parents here before, and they were saying everything that they're reading is about cry it out and said that I can't do it. But it doesn't need to be an either or. Just remind yourself that the sleep work is truly all about connecting with our children.
Even though he's sleeping really well, like that kid is not being woken up in the night and as well. But how are you sleeping? Did you finish your breastfeeding journey already? So has that changed the dynamic sleep-wise? And
of course.
How do you balance your entrepreneurial life with everything else?
Yeah, I mean,
tell us about that.
To be honest, in the beginning when I stopped breastfeeding, because I was never an overproducer, right? So it was very demanding. I was breastfeeding and pumping, and I actually traveled for a month back home, and it was just too hard to keep up. And then I started my period, and then he just wouldn't take my breast anymore, and so I kind of really gave up, I think, at that point, or it just ended naturally at the same time. And at first, I was a bit hard on myself, because that is another bonding moment, right? That I'm giving up. But now,
sorry to interrupt here. Just to say that as mothers, we carry so much guilt. When you were saying about breastfeeding, I could feel it in you that, it's okay, because we can be in love with our children in so many different guises. Honestly, I really feel that, I stop doing.
But it's the bonding that you miss time,
exactly,
isn't it? Not necessarily, it's like a mix of everything, isn't it?
Yeah, but the thing to remember, we don't have to concertina everything in that first year. My daughter Eleanor is here today, doing my makeup, and you've got the next 17 and a half years with him at home, and then he will come back. We need to remind ourselves with our children, and that really is, it's not child-centric or parent-centric. you're building this relationship and this bonding that will be with you always. Yes, I mean, look at Chris with his daughters, the angel, and it's just remind yourselves that we need to be compassionate as mothers.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I did, after the guilt, I accepted it. And now I think it's kind of a weight off the shoulders too,
Good.
right? Because I am sleeping better, and now, I'm here, because I have obligations and responsibilities. I can do different things, and
I felt like a bit of a prisoner when I was breastfeeding, because I did like 10 months and 8 months, and each child's different, aren't they?
Yeah.
But literally, I felt like a prisoner, and at the end, I was like, oh my God.
Right, yeah.
And it was like part relief, part
Yeah.
like a mix of both emotions.
Yeah, right. It's a bit bittersweet, but yeah, no, it was a beautiful time, and I cherished that moment. But but again, yeah, you're right. The bonding, it's still there.
And there are so many beautiful moments to come.
Mm-hmm.
Very quickly, we're just going to quickly go to a commercial break, and we will be back soon with Brianna Fade.
Hervea's mission is to create sustainable, non-toxic sleep solutions that support healthier lives and a healthier planet. And so we've partnered with Nurtured Sleep to create the ultimate organic mattress for little dreamers. Made from certified organic latex, breathable, durable, non-toxic, and no off-gassing. With a soft, washable bamboo cover, it's easy for parents and safe for baby. Ultimately fully organic and available in 3 sizes. Visit hervea.ae to learn more.
Yes, welcome back to Sleepless in Dubai. And yes, we are joined by the wonderful Brianna Fade. Are there any questions that you might have for Julie now that you're at this sort of stage in Cruz's life?
So if I want to start sleep coaching at home, how does that look? What's the first step I can do to resolve any issues I have?
So the first step is to recognize that sleep begins from the minute we wake up in the morning. So in the morning, you want him to have a consistent wake up and recognize that any time after 6:30 is deemed as daytime sleep. And means if he sleeps too long in the day, we're stealing from his night sleep. And then, so even if he's not awake by 6:37, have a 30-minute flexibility, then that's fine. But to wake him and not let him sleep any later than 7. At 6 months, we know that the average awake window for a 6-month-old is 2.5 hours, which increases throughout the day. And then the other thing that we know is we don't want him to exceed a maximum of 3.5 hours daytime sleep. So he's ready to sleep in the evening. So looking at your bedtime routine, and in the evening from 5:30, all the lighting be dimmed, because that will give the information to the brain that is true of the bedtime. And very often what we find with parents is you go into the bathroom for their bath in the evening, bright lights. We have now completely turned their biological clock, the message that says to the brain it's bedtime, we've completely disrupted it. So dim lighting in the bathroom, he then comes through to his bedroom with dim lighting. Now, after your routine, you do want to place him in his cot awake. And how you will do that, or know that he is awake enough, think about a scale of 1 to 5. If 1 is asleep and 5 is awake, we need him to be on a scale of 4 and 5 of being awake. And then very gradually, over that period of 10 to 14 days, we start up very close, so we give him lots of help at the beginning, whether it's you using your voice, whether it's you patting, but none of those are to sleep. You can pick him up as many times as you like. You're his mother, so you will know, you will read his cry. But anything that you will do will not be to sleep. And then you'll place him back, and then very gradually you will move further and further away. And we know that according to all that neuroscience data, it will take 10 to 14 days for him to learn how to sleep independently, and that's what it looks like. So there is never any leaving until right at the very end, when he has got his confidence, and so have you.
Okay, and so if I do this and it works, then the outcome
will be that in 10 to 14 days, everyone is placing him in the cot, both for his nap and nighttime sleep. You place him in the cot and you calmly leave. It's the skill set he has really learned.
It's like a miracle. But I mean, sadly, I didn't get to do that, but I've seen it in action and it works. Impressive.
It works. Okay. And what do you think about pacifiers?
So pacifiers are really positive as long as they are positive. Now, we have to be very aware of the role that they play, particularly with boys. So when they are sucking on the pacifier, it's how we use them. So the best way for it to be a positive sleep association is for it never to leave the cot. It's only for sleep. And then it's a really strong sleep association.
Sure.
But if we use it to calm him down, then we're giving them a very diluted and a very mixed message. So it's how we use it.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
The pacifier is actually the best invention ever.
Right.
It really is.
Not.
Yeah.
We also have to remember, when we are sucking on the pacifier, we are really strengthening all the muscles here for sucking, not for speaking. And so when our children are starting to change their words from sounds to words, they have such a strong pull of sucking, and it's really going against them being able to speak.
Doesn't the sucking motion stimulate the brain and brain health there? That's what I was reading as well.
And that's in the early part. So from birth to 6 months, there's wonderful research that is saying that the pacifier can actually decrease the risk of SIDS.
Sure.
Because, like I say, it reminds them to breathe. Yeah. But then from 6 months, we know that the part of the brain is strong enough now, and we want to be looking how to use it. Now, interestingly here, we know that it's not until a child is 8 months do they have what we call object permanence, which means that from 8 months, the sense of being abandoned no longer exists. So crews will know that when you walk out of the room or when you say goodbye, you absolutely will come back. So between 6 and 8 months, if you wanted to get rid of it, it's a really great time to remove the pacifier. But only if you want, you don't have to.
Sure, interesting. I've got a quick question for you as well.
Yeah.
So you, we said you went on this big trip recently. I think you went back to the States.
Yes. Yeah.
So how was that trip for the first time, especially long haul as well, with a baby? Obviously, like, I'm sure business class helps, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
But obviously, it's not, the be all and end all. But so how did you manage that?
Well, again, having a nanny does help. So she came with me. For the month. But at the end, it was just us three. And he did really, really good on the flight. The pacifier did help at that time because of the
turbulence. Absolutely. And if we're looking at the sleep work, so again, it's not just about the, crew sleeping in the cot in the dark. It's a skill set. So we build the foundations first, that he learns to sleep independently in the cot. Then we move to him sleeping in the stroller, sleeping in the car, on the plane, anywhere.
Sure.
And what I always say to my parents when they're traveling, anything goes when you're on the plane. It doesn't matter what you do on the plane, it's fine, because you're in an extraordinary situation.
Yes.
But as soon as that the wheels hit the tarmac, that's when you back into, okay, so now we go back to you not being held and really working on that sleep skills.
So what about the jet lag, though? How did you manage to jet lag?
That was tough, actually. Yeah? That was tough, actually, because I'm from Los Angeles, and it's a 12-hour difference. So, and my family is the first time that they're seeing crews. So we disrupted his sleep a little bit because we were up at, hanging out with the family, just having a good time up until 10 p.m. And of course, they don't want to let him go. So I think we kept him up a little bit too long, but he was fine after a while.
Let's go. Because what is the advice, though? Are you meant to basically land, stay awake, and just stick with the night and day cycle of how is I meant to navigate that? I don't know what the right or wrong answer.
Yeah, it's so hard. It takes a week just to get over the jet lag.
It does take a long time, but there's lots of things that you can do. Food, for example. Food is a really great cue to the brain to promote the biological clock back on time. Also looking at their sleep during the day and when their last nap is before they go to sleep at night. So there's lots of things that you can do, but the most important, before you leave to go on holiday, really get that sleep skill really strong so that when you bring in that variable, when you are going, they can cope with it. So that bedtime routine, so it's not just the sequence, it's not just the components of the routine, such as stories, such as the bath, such as the milk, it's the actual sequence of the event. So when they're in a different place, we have still kept their GPS on that route, the same route, even when everything else is gone around.
Then that's my challenge because we're traveling in the summer. So, I can start now.
Exactly, because if you're getting sleep skill now, you will transition beautifully.
Okay.
You really will.
Challenge accepted.
And, and he'll be on solids. So it'll make it even easier, much easier.
Well, I just have one last question for you.
Sure.
Do you have any other questions for you? Or?
No, I think that's it. Yeah, I'm happy to thank you for your advice. If there's anything, I'm happy to know more from you outside of this. So thank you so much for that.
So my final question is, what is your perfect sleep scenario for yourself? How would you describe your sort of perfect lead into the perfect night's sleep? Like, do you have like a ritual? Do you use we've had some interviews where people, use silk pillows and things like that. So is there like a specific scenario?
For me, for the baby?
For you. For you personally, yeah.
For my perfect sleep scenario? When you have a husband that wakes up at 4 a.m., it changes really everything,
We need to address that, actually. Of course we do.
It changes everything. So now I'm going to bed early because, I don't have to wake up as early as he does, or I don't have to go to bed as early. But I don't want to disrupt his sleep, so I'm having to get in bed earlier. So it kind of changes everything.
Interesting you say that, because there are these quite well-known morning presenters over in the UK on ITV. And one of them has just admitted that actually 4 days of the week when she's getting up at 3 a.m, they just sit in separate bedrooms. And then the rest of the time, like 4 days a week, they'll share a room, just is to get the sleep,
Yeah, I did that in the beginning. When in the beginning of the first couple months, I was with Cruz completely and doing everything, which is very hard. And so I slept in a separate room. But now,
I think they should change the title, but it is very commonly known as the sleep noodles. That's what we're talking about again.
I do that occasionally as well. I'm like, I'm going to be up really early. I'm sleeping in the other room.
Yeah.
100%.
But it's about looking after our health, because then when we get the best sleep, we are going to be the best version of ourselves.
Exactly.
So there are so many things that we can do that can support that really good sleep. So it is about navigating and managing, isn't it?
In terms of your routine, do you like a hot bath, or what gives you the best night's sleep? If you could paint that picture.
If I could paint, a nice bath. If I could get a massage every night, I would. That helps me sleep. But I just, do my skincare routine, and, if I can and if I have time, I read a book, and just fall asleep.
You're so lucky, yeah.
Yeah, but going back to your skincare routine, most of the bathrooms have very bright light. What we need to be doing is really changing that light bulb. And actually, the World Health Organization are looking at introducing a warning on all the light bulbs now because of the LED lighting, because this is absolutely disrupting our biological clock and having a very negative effect. So if there's one thing you take away from here, is when you get home, change your lighting.
Sure.
And that is going to help.
And I guess scrolling on TikTok doesn't help either, right?
I know, that's the worst. And you just renovated your house as well.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Oh, so the lighting, okay. Just renovated, but we can change it. Your bedroom and your bathroom are the two places that we mustn't have LED lighting. And it is interesting, about 25 years ago, there was this huge introduction of changing to energy-saving light bulbs. And honestly, if we look back, that's when a lot of the sleep issues really started because of the impact of our sleep. Okay, well, sadly, we have to wrap up. As I hope you can all see, we have really enjoyed our interview and would love to be just talking so much more. But what I'd like to say to you is goodbye and thank you from Sleepless in Dubai. But please remind yourself that if there is anything that you want to do today, you are going to want to get the best sleep ever tonight that will enable you tomorrow to put that superpower right into action and get your best sleep. And thank you.